Welcome to the Across the Bar podcast, where we talk about how today's headlines are important for your success at work. I'm Peter Rahbar. I should be your first call on legal issues.
And I'm Laura Brounstein. I should be your first call on comms and contact. Peter, how are you? Look at us both wearing gray today. Just
yeah. Has nothing to do with the mood. We just, you
should have
already
worn blue for the Blue Wave Tuesday.
Blue Wave. Yeah. So you were one of the first. So you were one of the first people to escape New York. You're in DC already. I can't believe it.
So as most people know, I have concerns about Mamdani, but now he is our mayor. And I wish him goddess speed, all the wisdom in the world to continue to lead our city. Continue to be the greatest city in the world. I think some of the things we're nervous about now have nothing to do with him and his leadership. It's people's kind of knee-jerk reaction, which I understand. People are nervous, but I want him to prove me wrong and be brilliant. And yet, we are going to talk about, among other things, the fact that there is a potential exodus from New York and how that will affect people, companies. Will it really happen? What to do if your company leaves New York or you want to leave New York? A great article that Peter found about male affinity groups. And we'll talk about men's need for connection. One of my favorite topics, gauging the economy by people's lunchtime choices. And Nancy Pelosi stepping down. We have things to say about that.
Just happened. Breaking news right before
Breaking news.
First, got on the platform.
What a queen. All hail Nancy Pelosi. I think the best to ever do it. Queen.
What do you mean? Queen. Best stock picker or best congresswoman?
Best speaker. That woman could whip votes like nobody's business.
Look, I mean, the cynical view would be maybe she has a view on the market dipping and she's like, forget it. It's done. No. It was a good run.
The truth is there was a Blue Wave Tuesday night and she said, this is a good note to go out on. And she hears the current dialogue around, I assume, I haven't spoken to her, but the current dialogue around age limits. And is there a point where you are too old to be effective in your job, which hers is to govern and lead in Congress? And just huge respect for her for choosing to step down. Yes, it will be in 2 years, but still.
Well, everybody wants to step down on their terms, which is...
But some people never want to step down. They literally die in their seat.
Some people never want to step down. I personally don't understand that. I plan to retire the second I am able to financially. But yeah, let's dive in. Obviously, the election here in New York was huge local news, but also big national news. And, it was very, it's good to see you and Bill Ackman coordinate your responses on, now.
I am not Bill Ackman
flipping.
Alone.
Well, he said basically the same thing. So did Jamie Dimon. So did a lot of the corporate leaders who were, scaring the shit out of everybody for the past couple of months have now flipped and said, well, he won fair and square and we're going to work with him. We want the mayor to be successful.
Like flipping. It feels like pragmatism. It feels like he's the mayor now. This is our city.
Yes. And I hope other people adopt that stance too. And look, hopefully he's successful. I will say he has a lot of work to do to earn the trust of New York constituents beyond the ones who voted for him.
Really great, experienced people, because as you know, a lot of my concern is his inexperience and lack of
my number one problem,
a team,
one and 1A would be his inexperience and also, statements he's made in the past that I found very offensive. But look, I think there was a couple hours yesterday where business leaders were, extending the olive branch, and then he hired Lena Khan to be the head of his transition team and, sent the total opposite message, as you know.
And
Lena Khan is like number one enemy of many corporate leaders. Do not like her. But you touched on it earlier. I want to go back to it. It's something we've talked about a lot on Across the Bar because, we have tremendous vision into these issues. Corporate leaders, you need to take notice. The young people in your workforce who you think you could just push around with your policies and decisions, they're not the workers you grew up with.
They
They
are.
are firm believers in their rights. They want to be heard. And I think this was a tremendous and very obvious demonstration of that philosophy. And if you're a corporate leader right now, I'm not saying you have to do whatever the workers in your workforce are telling you to do, or, adopt every policy they want, or
Yeah.
offer every benefit they want, or give them all raises, but you need to give them an opportunity to speak, and you need to listen, and you should incorporate ideas where you can, and if you can't, you should spend time explaining that. The
Make them
top
feel
down,
heard.
yeah, top down governance is not going to work in the long term. Maybe there's short term benefits to that, and I see a lot of companies right now who are exercising that power and they think it's going to last forever. It's not, and it's a dangerous
So wait,
path.
do you think there will be a moment when people are like, I don't want a job at JP Morgan?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
Really?
but look, I mean,
I
as
feel like
much
right now
as
there are a few jobs out there. People want any job they can get. I think there's two things. I think you have to listen to your youngs, but also it is tough out there right now. There are not a lot of jobs.
well, I mean, there are people who take jobs, and then there's a concept of loyalty. And so maybe if someone's taking a job now to pay a bill, or to not be unemployed, and they'll jump to the job they really want as soon as possible. I mean, that's just, there used to be a stigma against quitting that does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
There
But
used to be a
honestly,
belief that you could build a career at a company, and companies have said, sorry, we're not interested in that.
yeah,
So everybody's adopted their behavior
that's true.
accordingly. Yeah.
I mean, I have thought about I will be off Cobra from the campaign in a few months, and I love not having a full time job, but I don't know how much my insurance is going to jump up to if these subsidies don't get approved. And I might be in a situation where my health insurance payment goes up so much, I'm like, maybe I should get a full time job for health insurance. And other people might be feeling that too if the subsidies don't happen.
Sure. And hopefully this shutdown ends quickly, and it should. I think everybody's feeling the pressure now. It should. But
I mean, the
the
FAA thing, oh my God. I'm at this conference right now.
yeah,
Everyone is changing their plans. People who are going to fly home tomorrow all have changed their plans because today is the last day that it's guaranteed to have a flight. Any flights from Friday on, it says we can't guarantee this.
yeah. I mean, it's sad. I mean, part of the reason America is so attractive around the world
Because
is
it
like
works.
stuff works here, and there's reliability, and this
Yes.
administration doesn't seem to understand
No.
that. But
Yeah.
but look, we've also heard a lot of stories about companies threatening to leave New York, and people threatening to leave New York, and we've you and I have tabled this topic for a while. If Mamdani wins, and I think immediately we can see from the reaction of corporate leaders, they're not leaving New York anytime soon. I mean, JP Morgan just built a gigantic tower in the
The
middle of the
big ones
city.
aren't, but I bet you'll
Yeah.
see more hedge funds, PEs, and VCs
You're
and
not.
family
I'll tell you
offices.
right now, you're not.
You're
Sit
not seeing
hedge
them leave?
funds. No, because part of running a hedge fund, unless it's a one person fund, in which case they're a threat to leave anytime. But part of running a hedge fund is having access to talent, and there is a talent war that is still going on in hedge funds. And guess what's popping up across the street from JP Morgan's bright and shiny 80 floor tower is Citadel's bright and shiny 80 floor tower. So look, they've made an investment in the city. This is
I
where young
have
people are.
heard,
Young people voted for
I
Mamdani.
can
Okay.
anecdotally say,
Yeah.
I know several people who are currently looking into applying for their kids to schools outside the city.
Okay.
Like because of
Fine.
this. There are people, I have heard some reports of movements happening.
Right. Right.
And
So,
I do know a couple firms looking at space in Westchester suddenly.
well, look, there may be some who do that. And if you work at one of those firms, you're going to have very limited options. If you're at will and they're moving, and the choice is, well, we're moving the company and you could come along or stay behind, hopefully they're going to pay you severance to do that. I mean, I think a lot of companies in their decision making will look at, can I get my employees to come with me? And if I can't, wherever I'm going, am I going to get the same caliber of employees? And I've worked with employers who've made that decision. And frankly, no matter what city in the US you look at, when you move out of New York, your talent pool is just not going to be as good, period. It's not going to be
If
close in
you
most
want young
industries.
people, if you are looking for people, I think over 35, you have a great pool of talent in Westchester and Connecticut, I think.
Yeah. Well, you still have issues of, commuting and,
So you
other
think
stuff.
you think that we are not going to see an exodus? I hope we don't, obviously.
I think you're right in that we'll see some smaller employers try and do that, but
Hmm.
it's hard. It's not as easy as it sounds. I don't think we're going to see a mass exodus unless something really crazy happens. But I don't expect it to, and I
Oh,
don't.
good,
Mass exodus is not.
good.
I mean, we've heard that before. We've heard that around a lot of things, and it just hasn't happened. Most
True.
recently, after COVID, we heard no one will want to be in a subway together with other people.
Oh,
Guess
I
what?
remember being like, "Oh my God, my property values!
Right.
Like, so much of my money is in this apartment that now,
Yeah.
what's going to happen to it?"
And people moved to Texas and they came back. People moved to Miami, they came back.
True.
And the policies in those states are not so compatible with people who generally live in New York. So
That's true.
we'll
That's true.
see.
We'll see. Okay. Okay. So one of the things we've talked about a lot is the lack of kind of funding and support corporately for ERGs because of in the Trump era. That's not as prized. There's not as much money going to it. But there is a new growing ERG sort of thing happening in corporate America, men's groups, where men can come together and talk about their feelings. Peter saw this article. I want to hear your thoughts. Personally, I think the boys are not okay, and anything that helps men connect and speak their feelings rather than,
The boys are not okay.
boys are not okay.
Okay.
They're
Who is okay in our world these days?
You
I'd
know
love to
what?
know.
They're taking a lot of protein, or they're eating a lot of protein. They're looking at the sun in weird ways, and wearing black t-shirts, and they're not okay. They're angry. They're like listening to manosphere horrors. They need to talk to other human people face to face and have IRL connections to the world to tether them to reality. I think that is the extreme case, but just also why men should get to talk to each other. What do you think, Peter?
Right. And first of all, I've been hearing about this for some time now, and I did see the article, so I thought it would be a good time to bring it up. But I've heard about it from clients. One of the responses to the crackdown on DEI, some companies decided, "Hey, we're just going to eliminate everything. We're going to have no affinity
Yeah.
groups," which I think is the stupid response. And others said, well, let's just make it open to everybody. We'll just have groups for everybody because it's important to have these groups. It's important to give our employees, space to talk about issues that impact them. So things have been opened up to everyone. And so now we finally have, men's affinity groups. And I think it's valuable. It should have happened a long time ago. And frankly, I think it's the right way to counterattack the crackdown on DEI. And as you say, everybody has issues in the workforce, and they should have a space to talk about them. The
Talk about
prevailing thinking before was like, every day is men's day and the men hold all the power and they should have, they don't have problems. Well, they do, and they do need space to talk about it. So that's fine. And look, we'll see how it goes. I think it's something that should, remain permanently. And for the companies that eliminated their resource groups or affinity groups, like, I think you should come back to the space, and this is how you do it. I mean, it's a very reasonable, balanced approach. And if people don't want to go, they don't have to go. That's fine.
You are, I think, and my partner is this way too, the rare male with a lot of friendship.
Thank you.
Like a lot of guys, once they have a family, don't really have friends that they talk to and engage with. And you definitely seem like you have a strong group of friends. And
some would say I socialize too much, age too much with people, but it's also an important part of my business.
That's the business. But I think that is what makes you wonderful. I think so many men, you must see other men that have no friends other than like what their wife tells them to do.
Yes.
And that is not great.
One of the things I often do, and you can ask, some of my friends, is like encourage some guys who I see that issue with to like make new friendships, do things. There are things you can do to have they're like, what, I'm just supposed to go talk to someone? I'm like, no, go to school events, go to business events, go to industry events, start networking,
Find a
start talking on
basketball game
panels.
you want to play on the weekend. Take up
Yes.
padel. Go to a tennis clinic.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. And it's very important.
Volunteer for a campaign you believe in. Best way to... Campaigns are great friendship-making places because they're intense.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
it makes sense.
I made such close relationships from both campaigns I worked on because you're in the foxhole with these people.
Right.
And even as a volunteer, you will.
Right. So look at all the examples I just gave that have nothing to do with making a best friend at work, like we were discussing last week.
So I am at this conference right now with my best friend from my first magazine job, who is still someone I talk to almost every day. Melanie Manarino, and we describe it as we grew up together in magazines, and then magazines died. But
declining business.
But
R.I.P. Teen Vogue.
Lifelong friendship. R.I.P. Teen Vogue. Varsha Sharma, best to do it. Can't wait to see what Varsha Sharma does next. She was the editor.
So. Employee resource groups, I think they're very important.
But you don't want people to make close friendships. That is so weird.
At
you have
work.
So many close friends from Hearst. What are
you
talking about?
Yeah, it's true.
I could name 5 dear friends of yours that you made at Hearst. You're making this up. This is not real. This don't make sense.
You think it's just my podcast persona?
Yeah. You have so many friends from work.
Just what are being a crank.
About? Most of your friends were either clients or coworkers.
That's not true.
Okay.
That's not
true. You have a swath. You have so many friends, as discussed. But you do have a swath that were clients or coworkers. I was a client.
That's true.
Now look at us.
That's true.
Yeah. And I kept wanting to talk about one of the companies that I signed an NDA with. And I would, every time I got asked to talk about them, I would annoy you and be like, can I just talk to these people and say bad things? And you were like,
no.
We refer you to your...
Yes. I did it in my business voice. I lowered it.
You did?
I was like,
ruining my fun.
So, all right. Well, we could talk about one of your other...
People do that to you, even when they know they're not supposed to because of an NDA, come to you and say, but could I do this one?
Oh my God. All the time.
Okay, that wasn't just me being a nut.
No.
What is the most annoying? What is the thing that you get asked most by clients that you're like, I should just have a recording of me answering this?
Well, that's a good question.
Because for me, you couldn't just cut and paste every time I wanted to say bad things about this former boss. You could have just been like, let me read.
Well, right now, I mean, that question shifts over time, but I would say right now, the number one thing that I find myself saying on repeat is don't put that in AI. Do not put that in AI. No, you cannot put your employment agreement in AI. No, you cannot put your separation.
Even if you have a higher level account that confers privacy.
The only way you should do it is if you have a closed loop sort of LLM that you built yourself. You should not put it into any personal or work data. You should not put any work data into any of these.
It's happening.
I'm telling you.
I think you got to give recommendations for how to make it safer because it's happening.
Well, I know it's happening because people send me stuff that I know is generated by AI, and then I call them out on it. I said, "Did you put this into AI?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, great!" So whenever someone searches your name, they're going to find out that you were fired from this company.
Have a private account.
If it's something like Copilot on Microsoft that is closed, that does not share the documents with the LLM.
I have a ChatGPT Pro account. And it is supposed to be a closed environment. What I put in there has privacy.
But okay, so we'll exclude you from this talk, okay? But you're saying the number one question I get, from people is something around that.
That makes sense.
And that's the number one thing.
That makes sense. Okay. I love looking at lifestyle choices and how they indicate the economy. One of my favorite things, how when the economy bad, lipstick sales go up because you don't have money for new clothes, but some red lipstick solves most problems. Another thing we are seeing, Chipotle, I had earnings last week, I think it was, and said less people are buying lunch out. And that is such an interesting economic indicator, don't you think?
Right. The whole sector is actually suffering. Kava was another company that announced earnings last week. I love Kava.
Yeah. All of these are like grab your lunch and go back to your desk places, and they're hurting.
I mean, one of the big debates in my family right now is which do you like better, Kava or Naya, which is a close competitor?
Which do you like better?
I like Naya better.
As a Persian, I feel like you are
Yeah.
very well set. You have some expertise and gravitas in this area.
I would think so.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I mean the whole sector is under pressure because things are getting expensive and wages aren't growing at the rate to cover these increased costs. So people are making some real decisions about where they want to spend their money. You know, as a Chipotle bowl approaches, $20. Is it worth it for lunch every day? Or can I do something that's a little less? Like, can I eat the $8 salad in the corporate cafeteria instead?
Or bring lunch from home. I think we're seeing a lot more of that.
Right.
And I also think there's a lot more infrastructure now to support bringing your lunch. Like when I was on the campaign and had like an office job for 6 months and started bringing my lunch many days a week. There were so many like cute containers and refrigerated cute little pouches you can bring your lunch in now. Like it's much easier to bring lunch in a pleasing way than it used to be.
I totally agree. And also, look, it could be a lot of different trends. One other thing is people are caring a lot more about fitness and health and using GLPs.
Chipotle are good for protein freaks. I would think.
Yeah, but if you're really controlling your intake, you can't trust any place, whether it's Chipotle or anywhere else. Like you want to make a very precise meal, you could order 5 meals online for much less and just have them ready to go every day after you had your creatine and amino acid shake in the morning. So yeah, look at that face you're making. You're like, what the hell?
Are you doing a lot of like lifting and then creatine and all of those things?
I do.
Are you protein maxing?
I do take creatine and essential amino acids in the morning. Yes, and I do go to the gym. I went today, in fact. So that was good. And by the way, gyms are busier than ever.
Really?
That was also revealed. Equinox reported that their gyms are busier than ever. So
interesting.
Yeah. So there's a lot of trends converging.
Rub off?
I mean,
or just everybody is thinking more about healthiness? I don't know. Or we all have to look at each other all the time now, so everybody just wants to be cuter.
Yeah, well, now you got to be in person. You're not just at home. And some reports say it's because you look at yourself on Zoom and you become more conscious about exactly, or you have to be in person. But
I mean, we did not spend all day looking at ourselves before, and now we do so much on Zooms. We're looking at ourselves.
But a lot of trends are converging. And
which gym do you go to?
Which gym do I go to?
Do you go to a fancy gym?
I go to Equinox in Domino, which is a beautiful gym.
Beautiful facility.
Yeah, it's really great.
Nice.
It's really great. But look, I mean, I said last week, we were talking about corporate cafeterias, and that's a pressure too, on these businesses. But people are making real decisions on where they're going to spend their money. I will always
miss the Hearst Tower caf. I loved the caf at the Hearst Tower. It was so good.
But back then, if someone brought in lunch instead of going to the cafeteria, you'd be like, "What's wrong with you? Why would you?" I
didn't know how good I had it.
Right.
Like I had 10, 11 years between Condé and Hearst of gorgeous cafeteria life.
Which one was better, Condé or Hearst?
Hearst.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It was newer, but Hearst was much better. Hearst seemed to enjoy food, and Condé Nast always seemed to be apologizing for people eating.
Right. I have 2 big corporate cafeteria visits coming up that I'm going to report on. Did you get someone to take
you to the JP Morgan?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
it's coming up.
I want to
come. So that's one of them, and there's another one. They will be reported on in future episodes of Across the Bar.
We should bring like work lunches into the conversation more.
Okay, sure.
Maybe.
I'm always happy to talk about food and bev.
Me too. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
And,
I will say I'm at this conference right now, which I haven't gone to a conference in a minute. And being IRL with people is great. And you forget that when you don't do it all the time. Like, I love meeting
I
someone
was
for
at a
lunch or a
conference a
drink or
few weeks
being in
ago,
person.
a lawyers
There's just
conference,
a
which would have
public service
bored the
announcement.
crap out of
Leave the
anybody.
house.
But yeah, I actually enjoyed it. And conference spaces have really evolved, and there's some
Yeah.
good ones and there's some crappy ones. But I think the setting also makes a big difference. So there's that too.
We are at the beautiful AARP headquarters, and it is lovely here.
Yeah. But if anyone wants to invite us to their conferences, like in Laguna Beach or somewhere like that, we'd be happy to join.
Yeah, Stockholm, Dubai, anywhere.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Those were many of our main topics. I am nervous about my flight home on Sunday. I don't think this will get solved before that. Do you?
I don't know. Anything could happen.
You think they're going to? They're not going to reopen the government today.
I don't think the big man is enjoying. I don't think the big man's enjoying this extended shutdown, and he doesn't like it.
So. I think he is mad about the blue wave and wants to punish people.
We'll see.
Don't you think that's what's happening? Partially,
he can be sensitive. We know
he is. He's a flower. Maybe he needs a male affinity group.
Oh yeah,
can you picture like him? And I mean, I guess that's what his cabinet meeting is already. But like him and RFK and Pete Hegseth, they could all just be like, "Hey, bro, hey, bro."
All right, so we got some heroes and zeros for this week. You have a zero you want to start with?
No, you start. You start.
I have 2 zeros. So I'm gonna take co-host liberties and go with 2. So the first one is a little more fun. Actually, they're both funny, I think. The first one is, we just had Halloween last week, and there is, it seems, a trend of now starting Christmas decorations the day after Halloween.
Bring it on.
No, I think it's too soon. I think it's too soon.
Christmas right now.
Not yet. We have Thanksgiving.
You know what?
We need,
in the words of Seth Cohen, we need a Christmas miracle right now. We need people to feel happier.
I'm just going on the record. I'm against it.
Okay, I am going to go on the record. More Christmas all the time.
Okay, so then you're the person who goes to the Christmas tree store in August. We finally figured it out. That store in the mall.
No. But I do think it's fair game after Thanksgiving.
Right. Okay.
My second. Have you seen Mariah Carey posts that are so funny about like, is it time yet? Is it time? And she just like comes out at Christmas time.
I mean, Mariah Carey's great. Funny. The fact that she's built like this stage of her career just based on that Christmas song is like an amazing thing.
Yeah.
I met Mariah Carey once.
How was that?
In a restaurant. She was eating by herself in Peter Luger. This is like one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Was she macking down?
She was like her and like a couple of bodyguards standing around her. So,
but like she fully like going for it with like a steak and slog and the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm hungry now just talking.
Yeah. My second zero is there's a new FIFA, which is the governing body of soccer and which runs the World Cup, and Gianni Infantino is the head of FIFA and is a notorious
I knew that.
brown noser of the administration. He announced yesterday that they are establishing a FIFA Peace Prize to be awarded, curiously, in Washington, D.C. in a few days when they do the World Cup draw. I wonder who's going to get it.
Jesus
Imagine the level of ass kissing where you literally have to create a peace prize. But for those who follow FIFA, this whole relationship is very curious. But this is like absolute joke. What a loser. Who are your zeros?
I cannot come up with a good zero right this second, to be honest. I guess my zero is...
Well, I had 2, but you disagreed with 1. So
I did. I don't really have one right this second. Like, I'm sort of like, let's wait, see what happens in New York. Go Abigail and Mikey. And
you don't want Andrew...
Hero is Prop 50.
What about Andrew Cuomo as your zero for running such a shitty campaign?
I will say, and I've said this before, the Dem establishment, that they did not field some better options of experienced people was a bit of a zero for me, but that is in the past. He's our mayor. Do it.
Who's your hero?
My hero right now is I'm so excited for holiday movies this year. I'm just going to go right at you and say, like, I so look forward to the everywhere I look, there are girls saving Christmas tree farms on screens, like wearing red jackets.
Hallmark Channel? Are you a Hallmark Channel person?
No, I mean, I enjoy the ones on Netflix or Hulu better because they're usually have slightly more edge, but it's not like I haven't gotten sucked in and enjoyed many a Hallmark movie because their cast is always someone I love. I mean, they're so good at the casting and like finding homes for people who are famous.
That's a code for like they always have some hot guy. Is that what you're really trying to say?
No, actually, I more meant like they always have an actress I loved from something else. Like it's like, oh, Lacey Chabert. Oh, I want to watch that. Oh, various people. Allie Sweeney. Great. I want to watch anything with Alison Sweeney.
All right. That's good. So, I'm a big holiday movie fan. I'm not ready as consistent with what I said earlier. I do.
What is it?
4 Christmases.
That is so not what I thought you were going to say.
What'd you think
I so saw you coming with Die Hard.
Oh, I do love Die Hard, and I do think it's a
thought you were going to be like, Die Hard. What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, Die Hard's a good one.
That seems a little more on brand for you, but I like the 4 Christmases. Is it the Reese or the Vince Vaughn of it all?
I mean, it's just the whole thing. It's such an absurd
I don't know if I've ever seen the whole movie. Maybe I will watch that on the plane.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I can only watch Love Actually Love Actually and The Holiday are probably 2 of my favorites, but I can only let myself watch them every other year at this point because I've overdone it. Mm-hmm. I love The Holiday so much. I've bought a lot of white and light blue sweaters after watching The Holiday because Cameron Diaz looks so pretty in it and her clothes are so good. And every year I'm like, I need some more white sweaters.
There you go.
But I also love old school Holiday Inn with Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
It is the one where White Christmas originated, and then they made a whole movie, White Christmas. Yeah. But it is absolutely beautiful. Stream it. It's so good. Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire.
I think my kids would shoot me if I tried to bust that movie out during the holidays.
I think Business Peter would like it. You could watch it.
Business Peter. I should watch it during work hours. Okay, so I'll give you my hero, which you're not going to care about, but I'm going to say it anyway. College basketball is back, and I'm a huge college basketball fan. Did you know that about me? I think you did.
I didn't. Duke?
I went to Duke, and I'm a big Duke basketball fan, and they beat Texas this week, and Texas has never beaten Duke. Take that, Texas.
Yeah.
So, and they're coming to New York soon, so we'll see them in New York, but it's a great time of year.
If you had to choose front row seats at any sporting event, what would it be?
Geez.
It's a good one.
For like just one.
Like tomorrow night, you can magically go to. It's not like I want to be at this specific game. It's like if I could go to anything, I'd be front row for the Knicks or front row for the
the Knicks. Probably the Knicks. The front row Knicks situation is so good in New York. I mean, it's a fun situation. I mean, I've done front row for the Knicks on the road. That's great. Nice. Not the same as being in.
Could be Yankees. Could be Giants.
Yeah. I mean,
Giants, I don't know. Those games look very cold. People look very cold, chilly.
No, you have to be, the key to football games is you have to be very drunk. You have to have a very good tailgate.
Got you.
So otherwise it's not worth it.
Yeah.
All right.
This is
a
great chat, Peter.
Yeah. Thanks for taking time from your big power conference. And thanks to everyone for watching or listening to Across the Bar. Please subscribe, share episodes, send us feedback. We'd love to
send us questions.
And thank you, Sadie, for your work on production. And we'll see you next week. Bye.